Hello, this is Roman from the Chess Video Guide channel. Today I'll be looking at Tactical Endgame by Mamedjarov, and he is one of the top chess players in the world today, but this is a game that was played about 11 years ago when he was still a junior, and he was playing in the under 18 category at the World Youth Championship. Here Mamedjarov is playing with the black pieces, and he's up in exchange, but the position is far from simple because white has a strong pawn center and two dangerous bishops, and also this rook is a little bit trapped here. It doesn't have any good ways to come out, and it's interesting to see how Mamedjarov plays tactically in this. Well, it's not quite an endgame, but it soon will be, in this sharp position. So he begins with bishop to f4. That creates two threats. One is, say, if white just does something that is meaningless. So if white goes pawn to a4, if white goes pawn to a4, then obviously black is eager to come out and attack and build up a dominating position. This is not defensible because of things like that. So the threat is real and dangerous, and of course white has to respond accordingly, and in the game he did by playing pawn to g3. And that seems to put into question the merit of black's bishop f4 move, because it appears that the bishop has to retreat. But things are not so simple, and Mamedjarov had a very subtle tactical point in mind. He decided to transpose into this position where he sacrifices a piece back for only a pawn, and of course white has to take back, or else he's just massively down material. And now white has to take with the bishop, because otherwise if rook takes, then this bishop hangs here on f3, and that places white's bishops into a fairly awkward position. And here, this is the endgame that Mamedjarov was aiming for. He foresaw that in this situation the two rooks will be more dangerous than white's two bishops, because the bishops are stranded, and also this king is getting a little bit on the way. And he calculated very accurately that this is excellent position for him. So white tries to untie himself with bishop to f3. There is really no other good square for that bishop, and obviously the rook is threatening to capture the bishop. So if the bishop goes somewhere else, then there's moves like rook to e2 that are winning the bishop on b2, and that's of course hopeless for white. So instead white goes bishop to f3, and black brings in the second rook. The king has to go to h3. Now of course it's impossible to take on b2, because then the rook on e1 is still hanging. So here Mamedjarov plays a seemingly logical exchange, and it seems like here white escaped with the, without much harm. He still has two bishops, and the position seems not so bad. But here comes the real point of Mamedjarov's combination. He goes pawn to g5, and that explains all of his play, because now if, say, the bishop retreats and takes on b7, wow, that is not good, because now suddenly this king is under a lot of fire in this endgame, and it's actually very simple. You can pretty much stop the analysis here, because once the pawn covers up to g5 square, that's it. The king is trapped, and h3 does not help, because rook to h2. will win the game, because mate is still inevitable. White can delay it with bishop to g2, but that's not helping, of course. So this is the real point of Mamedjarov's combination, that the king is suddenly in danger. White's also facing the threat of pawn to g4, winning back at least a piece, and black would be up in exchange. So I think here White probably saw the writing on the wall, but he may still have had one last chance with pawn to g4. Again, it seems if black merely exchanges his double pawn, well, I wouldn't say that all is well, but things are definitely not bad for white, because he still, like, white still has a point to prove. Because, well, the bishops are possibly coming out still. But what Mamedjarov had in mind after g4 was even stronger. He actually played a move that is aesthetically pleasing to any human player. Pawn to h5. And this ensures that he will put the pawn on g4 no matter what. White is unable to support that g4 square, and either pawn he takes, black has ability to play g4 and win the piece back, and this is basically the end of the game for white. And here's how things could have continued. Say he takes there, then black could just play g4, but the most accurate is actually rook to a2, and after the bishop retreats to what seems to be the safest squares to d4, then black carries on with the g4 idea, and when white gives up the piece, black plays first this intermediate move, and then white's not even getting back a pawn because this bishop is also getting lost, so black is ending up a full rook up. So it's a very interesting transformation. I like how from this position up on exchange, Mamedjarov went into this endgame where his practically playing with even material, but he foresaw that he has such great play against white's awkward pieces and white's awkward king, and the initiative doesn't just stop once the queens are off. The initiative continues throughout the rest of the game, and this rook is stronger than the two bishops because it is supported by the pawns on the king side, and the rook is active, while the bishops are, interestingly, especially this bishop, is really constrained by his own pawns, and this bishop doesn't actually have any good moves at all. If it ever goes to c3, it's always trapped. It's a little bit tricky in the way the white still has to trap that bishop, but the basic idea is valid, and it won the game for black. I'll probably make a couple more videos with tactical endgames by juniors from that tournament, so stay tuned for more. Thanks for watching.